Hello there, vinyl community and YouTube. Welcome to JorgenS again, and Sweden that have been having quite a good winter's day today. 10 degrees cold and sunny day, winter, snow. But hopefully soon we will have spring again. Enough with the weather. It's time for February, the month of February, vinyl update, vinyl and CD update. Last year at this time, it was a horrible month. I found very little worth of interest, but this month it has been quite a good month actually. I've been finding some really good stuff, and some of them as late as today. So let's move on and see what February has brought me. Going to start with singles, however not vinyl singles. Still it's very poor with the vinyl singles out there, but I've actually bought myself a couple of CD singles. What do you know? I know there's been a quite interest in vinyl community for CD singles. Vinyl Potato, Gordy have been showing interest in CD singles. So I guess that has been doing that. I've been finding a little new interest in CD single format. So I was able to buy around 7 CD singles this month. Starting off with Bon Jovi, 90s classic ballad, Always. Maybe not the absolute best Bon Jovi song, but have some childhood memories when listening to radio in 1994. This one. Speaking of 90s nostalgia, Eurodisco, 24/7, slave to the music, oh na 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 na. If you remember, really dance classic. We added that 1993, 94 and 90s classics. I gotta have this one. Wet, 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 Love is All Around. By far the best song Wet, Wet, Wet have ever done. I've never been a fan of Wet, Wet, Wet in the 80s, but this song is by far their best songs. And the second best song they ever did is the B-side. Let's see here, a song called How I Can Give You Everything. I Can Give You Everything. Here in a soul remix by Arthur Baker. Really good single. Remember this group? Not a little banged up sleeve, but I gotta have this one. Zig and Zag. A couple of dummies. I think they were British British children characters. A couple of dummies who made the song Them girls, they all love me, they all love me. Them girls, they all love me. Produced by the same guys who were Real to Real, who had hits the same year. But this was a lot better. I actually think this is a cult classic. Björk, Joga. Okay, Björk song, maybe not her absolute best song, but I think it's a amazing produced. And I like the B-side. The other side, Always Full of Love. This I was very surprised how good it was. In 1999 there was a great hit called Would You by the group Touch and Go. You might remember. Would you go to bed with me? A female voice who sang. This is the follow-up single, and usually this follow-up single to such a unique hit is not all that interesting, but this one was definitely a whole lot more interesting than I could imagine. Straight to number 1, and the female voice here is none other than model Kate Moss. And it's actually good. It's a really funky and fun experimental track, really worth checking out. And there also is this more danceable track, but it's also out there a version who is a whole lot more sensual, more sexy version that I like very, very much. Unfortunately, it's not on this version, but I like this version as well. And finally, singles, Swedish hip-hop rap Eurodance later on group Look Twice. I know it's a little late or early, depending on how you will see it, to show Christmas singles, but this one I had to have because it's actually a really funny hip-hop Christmas single, Slamming Christmas. So, leaving the singles and going to CDs. Been a really great CD month. This one I'm not sure. It's not bought this month. I think I bought it a couple of while ago. I'm not sure that I showed this one. If I have, please forgive me, but I have no memory of showing this one. I bought it, I think it was 2 months ago. This is Per Gessle from Roxette and a solo project that he had very quickly called Son of a Plumber. And the son of a plumber is himself because his father was a plumber. He had some good success with this one, with the songs Joanna Says and Hey Miss DJ, and it's a little more 60 style over it, and if you're mixing Roxette with some 60s style, you pretty much have this one, little rockier Roxette. But I think this one is pretty good actually. Maybe not Per Gessle's absolute best album, but it's pretty good anyway. My favorite Swedish blues rock singer. This one is bought today actually. This is Louise Hofsten. And her album So Special. She sings in Swedish here actually. Not often she does that nowadays. This one is from 2007. More Swedish, bought today. This is The Confusions, and this is actually a band from my city, Sundsvall. And I only have 2 artists from my city that I actually like. It's this Confusions and it's Gina Jacobi, and I like them anyway. I can't say that I am impartial because I happen to know a couple of members here personally, but I think this is actually good indie pop, 90s style that still sounds very, very fresh. So I am very, very like this band very, very much. This is a soundtrack that was very, very interesting. Music from the motion picture Lethal Weapon 3. And Mel Gibson. And contains songs by Sting. And we're having Elton John, Eric Clapton here. But otherwise it is instrumental and music from the motion picture, so very, very interesting. Dave Stewart and the Spiritual Cowboys. Was a little hesitating for this album before. I liked the hit single Jack Talking very much, but I was a little hesitating to the album. But I felt like I wanted to give it a chance actually, so I bought it. This is actually really, really good. This is little experimental, but still very, very smooth, very, very awesome made melodies. Sorry, me and Mr. Majo to using that word. But I really like the melodies. I like the production, and even though not every song is hit caliber, it still is a very, very good album. A lot better than I actually could imagine. Swedish group Melody Club, a group that mixes 80s stuff with some newer sounds. This album is from 2002. It was during the prime of their career. Having Cover Girl here, having Palace Station, Electric, some of their biggest hits. So I like the hit singles, but I never actually had an album with them, so it's going to be very interesting. And a crown jewel of the CDs today is magnificent 3 CD box, 3 CD set with Gary Moore collection, the Platinum Collection Gary Moore, 3 CDs, CD1 containing his rock materials from the 70s and the 80s and some from the late 90s. CD2 contains his blues tracks from the 90s, and CD3 contains live sessions, live tracks. So this is fantastic. Take a look at this. Best part is the price. I only paid around $3 for this one. So very, very satisfied with this one. So vinyls also have been pretty good month. Finally, I might say, because it started off a little slow. I actually got an album for free by a record collector friend of mine. And I was very happy because I had this album before, but this, now I have it was a pretty poor version. Now I have a whole lot better version of Depeche Mode's Violator. This is, in my opinion, one of the best albums ever. Really, really fantastic album. Synth pop when it is at its best. So extremely happy. Bought today. This is Swedish actress and singer. She sings musicals and so on. Lena Dahlman. This is poetry songs by Swedish poet Gustaf Fröding. So it's an album made for the summer. Going to be really, really interesting to listen to this one. We're having some great Swedish jazz musician here playing with her. We're having Arne Domnerus, Georg Riedel, Bengt Hallberg, Rune Gustafsson. So it's going to be very interesting. However, this month was a month where I had did a magnificent finding. I been hesitating for these albums during previous months at a second-hand store before I realized that I really want this one. It is not 1, not 2, not 4, but 5 albums from the same artist. It is jazz funk guitar player Earl Klug, and 5 albums from early and mid 80s. We're having Crazy for You is from 1981. Earl Klug, Wishful Thinking from see here, I think it is from 1983. Let's get it cleared also. 1984. And we have Lowride from this one is from 1983. Fantastic guitar player, very, very funky and jazz funky production, and with his acoustic guitar playing is so relaxing, smooth jazz funk, and really laid back, and I really like this one. Something to listen to when you want to relax after a hard day's work. This is Soda Fountain Shuffle from 1985. And finally, Keynotes, also is from 1985. So this is going to be magnificent to listen to. At the same store I also bought this one, cut out unfortunately, but still a great 70s album with the Tempations, masterpiece, from 1973. Gordy, it's the same as Luton release, of course. And more 70s soul, Billy Preston, A Whole New Thing, from 1977. More 70s soul. Thelma Houston, but she's only a guest artist here for the band called Pressure Cooker. I never heard of this band before, but it's going to be very interesting. I haven't been having time to listen to any quick peeks of this one, so still I have no idea what I'm getting myself into. But Thelma Houston from the 70s I like very much, so only for that it's worth having. And sounds from instruments here that's going to be very, very interesting. So this is a single album, even though it looks like a double gatefold. Last year I got a couple of records for free by buddy at work, and one of them was not in such a perfect shape. It was an album with the Swedish singer Alice Babs and her group Swedanes, which she had with the Danish musician Ulrik Neumann and Sven Asmussen. And that album was not in good shape at all, but it was listenable. And I said I was going to have it until I had a better copy of it. And now I finally have a much better copy of this album with Swedanes on på Berns, med Swedanes på Berns. And Berns is a club in Stockholm, Sweden. And really funny jazz record, live jazz record. Much humor and some great live swing recordings from the 1961. Everybody know I like Chicago and that kind of a jazz funky style. However, there are other artists, of course, in the same style as Chicago, and one of them are, of course, Blood, Sweat and Tears. I've never been a huge fan of Blood, Sweat and Tears. I don't know. Maybe it is because of David Clayton Thomas' more tougher and the raspy voice that I think is hard. Not my favorite voice, comparing to Robert Lamb and Peter Cetera in Chicago, that I think is much more smoother to listen to. But I felt like, why not? I give Blood, Sweat and Tears from the 70s a chance. So I bought B and T 4 from 1971, Blood, Sweat and Tears. My first Blood, Sweat and Tears album, obviously. And I listened to this one this afternoon. It's not all that bad. I think it's not every song is good, of course. I had a little hard time listening to the more funk Dixieland song Mama Gets High. But on the other hand, I love the song Lisa Listen to Me. I think that one is really great. I really like when they go into some jazz solos, and I also love the horns in this band. So maybe it will be more Blood, Sweat and Tears from the 70s in my collection, because this one was pretty good. Still, I think Chicago is better, but I think this one was pretty good, really good. This one was a blind buy, definitely. I had no idea what I got myself into when I bought this one today. Never heard of the artist Angelo. I tried to search him for on the internet. He doesn't have any Wikipedia page, and had a very hard time finding information about him. But the reason I bought it is because uh, I felt like it would be interesting when you have Lee Ritenour on guitar and you having half of Chicago being here, having Peter Cetera, and we have Danny Seraphine and so on. I also have Carl Wilson from Beach Boys here, so why not give it a chance? And finally I found some information that he is very close connected to Chicago, and they play very much on both albums that he released. I don't know, only a picture of him that I found is this one. So this album, I listened to it today and I really liked it. I was surprised how good it was from an artist, and I actually had no idea what it was. Always happy when blind buys turn out to be really, really good. It is not as funky as Chicago, but it is have a little touch of funk jazz somewhere in the faster songs, but most of all it is American rock, American pop style. I love the ballads. The ballads are more like a Doobie Brothers style, and even though he is no Michael McDonald core when it comes to singing, but I think this one was a very nice surprise, a very awesome and great album, even though I had no idea what it was. So I'm very happy to be this surprised by artists I had no idea who it was. Anybody knows more about who Angelo is, feel free to inform me in the comment section. And of course, as usual, you will find some YouTube links in the description area for some of these albums. A couple of weeks ago I did a tribute to a great artist that passed away, Maurice White, and Earth, Wind and Fire, and that video is right now storming ahead towards 500 viewers, which at the moment is my biggest viewed video. Thank you very much. But I had no idea actually that Maurice White actually had done solo albums. So I was very, very happy surprised when I this week found this solo album from 1985. I have not had the time to listen to it yet, but I will, and I have nothing but high expectations for this great solo album from soul funk genius. Of course, he had produced himself, of course. So this was my February, pretty good February, and hopefully March will be just as good, and feel like doing a year celebration from the 80s, so I will most likely do that pretty soon. There are some contests and threads out there that I hopefully will be able to answer to, and until then I hope that all of you have a really nice weekend, and till next time, so long.